Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Parlay Revival. So last week we were totally comfortable unstepping our mast on our own as we took you through the process step by step with us.
The boat is bald.
But re-rigging the entire boat was a different story, and we were unable to find the expertise we were looking for here in Mexico. So we called upon our good friend Jonas Berg, one of the owners of the biggest spar company in the world, Selden Masts, to see if he'd be able to come give us a rigging masterclass.
If the reef line snags or something, you're not going to rip your sail apart. Yeah.
To my absolute surprise, he was able to clear his schedule to help us out, so that we'd be able to make the last weather window to cross the Pacific Ocean to French Polynesia. So as we awaited his arrival, two other friends were about to fly in.
Send Colin a video about all this.
To complete the crew of 8 who were going to sail the 3,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean with us.
Hurricane Irma boats tossed. Here we are at this marina.
Hi, my name's Colin. I used to be a chief engineer on super yachts, but gave it all up to buy a hurricane-damaged Lagoon 450. My friends and I are fixing it up as we go, and are determined to circumnavigate the entire planet. So subscribe if you want some inspiration to live life to the fullest. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So what are you waiting for?
Okay, another hard day's work. But we have a surprise visitor. What's up? Oh, you made it.
Where's all your bags?
I hit him down. I couldn't carry him up. It was too heavy.
So we celebrated Dave's arrival with a crew dinner, and as expected, things turned a little weird after a few beers.
What are you doing, Colin?
I'm drawing abs.
You're drawing abs.
Why?
Labs.
Because.
This is gonna inspire me to work out
Exactly.
across
I'm gonna
the
show him
Pacific.
how it looks.
See what it's gonna look like.
Yeah,
Let's see.
exactly.
Try before you buy.
Are you happy with yourself? Yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Stand up.
This is for Jamie. Get Jamie on this.
Oh, hot damn.
Yeah, look at me. Look at my
There
tattoo.
we go. Shut up.
There you go.
You'd look badass with that.
Oh my god.
So because we're delayed with all this rigging stuff, Philo out there has got to go. He's got a job offer, so we've invited Vince to come. So Vince is one of our long-time patrons. He's been on the boat before, so he came through the
Panama Canal with Parlay. That was my first time on the boat. I was drawn as a Patreon.
What does this mean to you to be able to do the crossing?
Life-changing. It's like being hit by lightning twice, just like Colin. It's a wonderful surprise, and I feel really lucky and grateful.
With the final 8 crew now sorted, we got word that the rigging had finally arrived from the States. So we headed over to the shipyard to make sure there was absolutely nothing missing.
That one looks heavy. Oh, that is heavy. Okay, we'll let Jamie. No, Colin, allow me.
Jeez, it doesn't look very much.
Brand spanking new.
So we went about checking that all of the hardware had arrived, as well as that the wires were the right length and all of the fittings had been sent.
Bang.
But we discovered some horrible news.
There's nothing here for a forestay.
So we would have to just crack on with other jobs, such as removing all of the foils for the furler, ready to be transferred over to the new forestay if it ever arrived.
Yeah, boy! Stainless steel. Inside aluminium.
The foils you see here are attached to the furler, which is what spins the headsail around the forestay.
Good old vice grips, they fix everything.
Watch until the end if that makes no sense to you, as you will see exactly how it works.
They're getting a little bit easier as the higher we go because there's a little bit less salt spray on the foil itself. Okay, let's dismantle it. Take this off, this is called the swivel. This is for the head of the Genoa. So what it is that's stopping us from taking this out are these bearings here, these bushings. Obviously this big fat swaged end can't fit through all of these. So these just split in half, they turn, pull out, and split in half. Every single foil has one of these at the bottom, and then one at the very top. So we're gonna keep all of these parts nice and safe. Number one. Okay. Number one. And then these ones should separate. Oh, this is the bearing. It's one of these. And every one, like I was saying, these have got Loctite on them.
That's why they're so hard.
We did find a couple of issues. These are called tangs. The toggle is the part that joins to the tang, and it wore a big uneven oval shape into what should be a perfectly round hole. So we're gonna have to open those holes up a little bit more, and we've had all new bushings made. Chosen.
See.
Whoa! And we've got to open those holes up a bit so that can go in there.
So to give you the visual, the tangs are how the two cap shrouds and the forestay attach to the mast, and also the two lower shrouds.
Oh, holy shit. Got it, boys? That's sexy. Where's our new pin? That's good. Nah, that's freaking good, boy. Okay, back at it this morning. Got another roadblock. All of the stem ball fittings, the flathead bolts that they use, are all seized into the mast. Stainless steel bolts. So you might have to drill out. Don't know if you've ever tried to drill stainless steel before, but it is not easy. What's the plan here, Stan?
I don't want to strip the bolt, I don't want to get the blame, so you're going to hit it.
How long did it take you to get this, Steve?
About 2 hours.
2 hours. We think this is the key to maybe getting these bolts out to get the stem ball fittings out. All 8 of them are stuck in the mast. I'm guessing this is gonna break. See what happens. Colin's also been putting vinegar all over every one of them. You guys ready?
Yeah. Yeah, the boy.
I'll go slow. Oh!
That
See
moved,
that?
Yeah.
Oh! She's turning, baby. That was the chosen one.
What do you reckon, Steven?
What do you reckon, chosen one?
I think it's turning.
It's turning, yep. Yep.
This is the key to success.
Shipyard life, we're back, baby. I'll get the big one and go behind you, eh?
And come up behind me with a big one. Did I hear that right?
Now what happens?
I think she goes in and out.
Just like we had discovered for the foil bolts, it was actually Loctite that was making the bolts hard to turn, rather than corrosion. Luckily for us, we got all 8 of the stem ball fittings removed without having to drill anything out, which was great news. And we got even more good news later that day.
Finally, the last of our rigging has arrived. Have I told you guys that the owner of Selden is coming?
Have I mentioned that? Jonas Berg, one of the owners of Selden, is coming here. Who the hell knows how to do this better than him? Decades of experience. So we just feel so fortunate that he's coming down. He's become a good friend. We should have the rig on the boat on Friday and then sea trialing on Saturday. So big week, big week. What's this called, Dave?
That one is called a tag. They have educated me.
I don't know if this is the forestay or the cat shroud.
I think that's going to be a forestay.
Where's that? This one goes to the back, doesn't it?
I think it's the front.
We can't confuse each other.
So this is already cut down to size. We're not touching this length at all. If this length is off, we are not leaving Mexico or crossing the Pacific. Jamie's about to lose his moneymaker right down there. Be careful, jeez.
It's
freaking me out.
It's not making anything lately.
These are the sort of things that just pop up, which takes so much more time than you were expecting. We found a gap in the track for the cars of the mainsail. So when the crane lifted it, it must have just dragged the whole track upwards. And now there's a gap, and we've lost a bunch of ball bearings out of our top mainsail car. So Steve, man, he's just been a legend. He just keeps going to the shop whenever we need something to pick up bolts and nuts and screws and stuff, just so that we can keep working. Legend of a man, that guy. So yeah, now we need to drill those broken bolts out of the mast, drill a hole next to it and tap a new thread for the bolts that Steve's gonna get. Nothing's easy.
I have to put the balls in the ball bearing. I think that's what it's called. But they're so annoying because every time you move, another one falls out.
How many balls do you have to put in?
I don't know, like 20 each side. The bottom bearing only has to slide like 2 meters. So if they're wrinkly and there's less balls in it, it doesn't really matter. But the top one has to go the whole mast. So that's why.
The reason we're taking so much care and precaution when rigging this stuff is because this kind of thing can happen. You've already watched the episode with the Nini Wahine. They lost their entire rig, had to turn around and motor back into the wind and the waves and everything for 950 miles to get back here. Absolute disaster. Go back and watch that episode if you haven't watched it already. But here's another rig. It's the exact same manufacturer as ours. It's not Selden, and the forestay ripped straight out of the mast, and that thing almost came down crashing on it. I think it was just a couple of halyards that held this thing up. So with Jonas doing the actual rigging, we're gonna have the best of the best holding this mast up, and we're gonna have the best of the best rigging it and putting it together. So this is the sort of stuff that can happen and why we're putting so much importance on this rig.
That's his name. That's what we're going to call him.
Savior. He's saving our asses. There he is.
Oh, yeah, baby.
What's up, man?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to have some
Crazy.
fun.
Oh, yes.
This is awesome.
You don't understand how good it is to see you right now.
The chosen one and the savior.
What's he, the second coming?
By the way, as mentioned before, our mast isn't even made by Selden, which makes it even more incredible that Jonas was prepared to work on a rig that wasn't his own. About half of the rigging was supplied by Selden though, and the rest by SeaTech Yachting in Long Beach, as we just had to buy whatever we could get our hands on if we were going across the Pacific Ocean in time. So today is Wednesday afternoon. We've booked the crane for Friday morning 9 o'clock. So we've got the rest of today and tomorrow to get all of this together. But the thing that we wanted to just have your expertise with is getting these lengths right and then therefore cutting the cables correctly. So the forestay is already pre-made and we can start putting that back together if you're happy with that slight bend in those foils.
We can do the caps and your lowers when it's hanging in the crane.
Do them right there and then.
I mean, we finished the diamonds here. It's not a problem.
Right.
So once we're happy with it, it doesn't take very long. So we will need 4 people, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, right?
Got our first instructions, that's to bolt these into the mast. Upper diamonds are slightly shorter than the lowers. So we've got the cable down there, gets a cup,
slide that over, and then slide that over, and then sits in the top. There we go.
With a head like this,
Yeah.
it's hard to get a lot of torque on it.
Yeah.
So I really want the Loctite.
Okay. That one. Colin check.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, that's all you need.
Just to be sure. Just one drop.
Yeah, all you need is one drop.
Easy.
Oh yeah.
Feel sorry for the next guy that's got to get those out. Oh boy.
I mean, look at this. I've been in 20 minutes and some progress.
On Parlay, we have two sets of diamond shrouds. We have stem ball fittings at the top of every diamond, which is connected directly to the wire, as you have now seen. On the bottom ends, we have stem ball fittings again, but this time they're connected to a turnbuckle in order to tension the diamond shrouds. So to connect the shroud to the turnbuckle, you could have a swage fitting like this, or a staylock fitting. We will be using staylocks, which are more expensive than a swage fitting, but have many advantages, which Jonas will explain to you in detail coming up.
So now we're working on the bottom ends of the diamond.
Yep. And so this is the fitting, and it's a stem ball fitting.
Yeah.
So we're going to use a stem ball stud. It doesn't matter really which spar manufacturer you pick, to keep costs somewhat reasonable. All of us, we make one fitting and then we cup it depending on the size of the wire. So one fitting can take a multitude of different sized wires. This is a beautiful fit right here. It absolutely fits perfect.
Yeah.
And we slide, and we can see that we have some play. And that's the beauty of a stem ball. It allows it to move. And then depends on the length of the spreader, or if it's short or the angle here, we have a lot of options with a perfectly distributed load at all times. This doesn't do much really, it's just to hold it in place.
Yeah.
It's the radius here, and as the spar is cut out, it distributes the load over this area.
Right.
And as you can see here, the fitting is really doing its job because you have no stress crack whatsoever, and it's not a brand new spar.
So because of all those rounded surfaces, you've got no point load anywhere.
You don't want to, you're way better off with round to distribute, because there's a lot of surface area to distribute on.
Yeah.
Instead of just a small square, you get a point load, and aluminum, it will crack on you. It will fatigue quickly.
Do you want to see something crazy? This guy's forestay ripped out of his mast. It's a Beneteau 51.
Oh shit.
Seen that before?
Yes. You see the difference in how yours is really
that's
round.
exactly what you were saying.
Yeah. It's too square. It looks similar, but it's very different, and hence why you have this here and you have not an issue whatsoever.
That was exactly what he was saying about the rounded edge of that stem ball.
I've done this for a while.
Okay, so now I'm going to put the diamond shroud into the spreader tip. Then bang like that. Oh. How's that?
Perfect. Yeah.
So now we're going to put this in how Jonas was just saying. Then we have to get our rigging oil out, and we have to douse a little bit of oil on the inside, and then we'll screw it in, and then same on the other end, and then screw it in.
And you're gonna...
It's the right way. It might be around this way.
Okay, this is hilarious. So Jamie thinks he is filming a time lapse, but it's a normal video, so he totally gets busted putting thread locker inside the turnbuckle instead of rigging oil.
Oh shit, that's right.
He runs off trying to find something to get it off with, then frantically tries to clean it all off before it dries.
Would have been Loctite in there by accident.
That would not have been good. Good thing we didn't film that now, do we?
Yeah.
Time lapse it.
Anyway, he makes a good recovery and goes ahead with the rigging oil. So funny.
That's good.
Okay, so the guys are doing the bottom ends of the stem bore fittings, and we're going to start putting the forestay back together. So all of these foils slide up, so we'll get a bearing for there. So I don't know if you guys saw a while back, we did an episode on our friends Privilege 62, and they replaced their forestay just like this, and they put the foils on, but the shipyard or the riggers didn't see a small stone just above the bearing on one of the foils, and over time with the furler furling up in and out, the stone cut through the forestay and the whole forestay snapped. So we're just making sure all of these are nice and clean inside before we slide them on up. And then this is the bearing here, just 2 halves, goes on, sits up in there, and then it can't come down because that's there. So you imagine if there was a stone above that, it's got no way to get down. The next thing you know, your rig's smashed down onto your boat. So we're just putting a drop of Loctite, and they're going to be hard to get off. Hopefully we don't have to get this off for another 10 years.
Never coming apart.
Okay, now the last part, we just put the swivel on. We just check that it goes all the way to the head of the foil. Spins nice and freely. So now we can put the furler on as the last piece. And it goes in and turns like that. Just make sure there's no stones or anything in there. So we're trying to keep all of this off the ground. That puppy in there. Okay. Got stainless steel going into aluminium again. So we shall use Tefja. Eye goes off the bottom of the forestay. That bushing in there, that, and then that. Gotcha. That's why we got.
That's why we got the saviour.
That was close.
Always the right tools for the job.
So what's interesting about this design, we have the wire sitting to a toggle up on the forestay.
Yeah.
So that's preventing the wire from spinning. And we have the set screws here, right? So in theory, it will never unscrew itself. Even if these screws should fail, it's connected here and here.
Yeah.
So that's the fail state. You're not going to lose your forestay, even if something happens to the wire. Yeah.
You rolling?
Yeah, I'm just handing this to you.
Can I just say how incredible this is? Everyone, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 8 of us are just, we've all got our own little jobs and we're just smashing it out. Diamonds will be on soon. Gonna now work on the tang. We've had stainless steel bushings made, and then just for an extra security, we've made these plates made, and these plates are gonna go either side of the tang with holes, and because this is made slightly longer, it's going to be held reinforced by these outside plates. But also, because it's a little bit wider now, the toggle is a better fit on it. So it can't actually do the big sideways movement that it was able to do before that caused all of this damage. Probably in the hurricane. But we need this to fit inside there perfectly like that. Stainless steel with this bit.
Oh! I did just a 21-foot weight, but you know. Ha! You gotta be kidding. Dude! How lucky. Well, lucky. We're professionals, aren't we?
So with all 8 of the upper and lower diamond stem ball fittings installed, it was now time for us to do our first staylock fitting.
We've set up that it's about 7/8 open.
7/8, so there's still a little bit of thread there to work with.
Yeah, and we centered up the studs evenly. That's really important so you get full use.
You happy?
Okay. Now I'm still mark it right here at the bare bottom.
Okay.
Yeah. Take that. Just slide it up a bit. This is your wedge. Goes on the center. So this is a 1x19 wire. So it's 19 strands altogether.
So no matter how big the cable is, it always 2 layers like that?
Yes.
Okay.
On a 1x19. Because a 1x19 you can't really bend.
Right.
At 7x19 you can bend.
And you were saying cut with a hacksaw rather
Yes,
than a
we
grinder?
don't want to put heat. So I'm not a fan of angle grinders or die grinder. You will see discoloration, and it's going to lead to impurities within a year, I would say, in the saltwater climate.
What's your opinion on Dyneema rigging?
Oh, it's come a long, long way with the fiber rigging, and to be honest, I'm not experienced enough with it personally.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it lasts, but I know in the early days, chafe was a big factor. My understanding is that has somewhat been overcome, and who knows, maybe in the future that's what we'll use.
Right.
It's still on the pricey side. It seems to be the racers, high-end people that use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tremendous weight savings. It will stretch,
Yeah.
and then it sits.
Yeah.
And then you don't have any stretch.
Right.
Ultimately, what you don't want stretch in your wire or your standing rigging.
Okay.
Yeah, get that edge off with a file. This is where Band-Aids come really handy, because we're gonna use some Band-Aids. That'll do it. Now we can put some tape to lock this in place so it doesn't slide up. We're gonna untwist this, and sometimes they like to spiral away. We at Selden have used staylock product for years. I mean, I've been using the product for 35 years myself, and they have just every kind of mechanical fitting when it comes to rigging. Do you see how I open it here? Once you get the first one, the second one is easier. Wow. Here we have a perfectly opened wire. So now we need the wedge piece.
So you've left
Yeah,
6. One,
Yeah,
two,
so
three,
this
4, 5,
this
6.
is the center core of the 1x19. You can see these are rotated the opposite way.
Ah,
Yeah.
true.
So now we slide this on. We can leave it just like that. And then all we have to do now is
Black magic.
man, the old mast maker still got it. What can I say? So what we have to be very careful with here is we don't want a strand
In the gap.
in the gap. Exactly.
Okay.
You hear this? Yeah. And that's what's called the former. But you want to make sure you have your former in here. That's very, very important. Just like that. Hopefully I have it so it will start. Yes. Now we get going. And then now
Crank on it.
I need muscle Jamie here. So one to hold here. We don't want to screw on this part. We want to tighten the bottom. And you can hear it forming in there.
Yeah.
That's probably good. Let's undo it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want a little bit of, so the Loctite will lock the threads, right, once it dries up.
Yeah.
But I want, since it's stainless on stainless, I like to use, it also works as a lubrication.
Right.
So,
Just to make that
so
part a bit
we
easier.
don't seize the threads before we even get to enjoy our staylock.
Okay.
And now let's see how it looks like. Ha ha, look at that baby. Woo!
Wow.
And the absolute beauty of this fitting, in my humble opinion, is that could it be more simple? In a way, you couldn't design something easier, right?
Yeah.
Let's pretend this wire is time to replace. It's been 10 years, right? Or 20,000 nautical miles, whatever. The wire it's time for some wire. So,
Take this up.
so what we would do is we unscrew our staylock, which is going to be tight, because that's thread locker right there. But with a rubber mallet, or like put a piece of like something wood, you can bang this loose and get rid of the old wire. And then when you get your new wire, the top piece here you reuse. The wedge here in the center, the wedge with a slot in it, do not ever reuse that. That has to be replaced.
And the fork?
The former is fine,
Okay.
and this part is fine. So now what we do is we put some more Loctite, and then we tighten it as tight as you humanly can get it, and we leave it.
That's it.
And that's it.
So that's just to check it, right? We just
Yes,
take it out just to
you
check
always want to check it. You
Okay.
always want to check it. When we're on it, and I notice it's going to get an awful lot of comments. It is some people swear by putting caulking in here, which I'm not a fan of. I would say it's a 50-50. Some people think I'm absolutely wrong. I've seen so many staylocks that are 30, 40 years old, no caulking, perfectly fine. If you really, really want to have some, make sure it's a polysulfide. Never ever silicone or a polyurethane. That don't mix well with the properties of stainless steel, and you will have problems with the stainless, and that is the caulking spot. If you smell it and you're not 100% sure, leave it. Don't put it in there. Go without.
They're putting it in to fill the voids.
Yeah, so
And keep
the
moisture
argument is that which is a solid argument, is that water will come down the strands
Yeah.
and go into the fitting. However, caulk over the time dries, ages, cracks. So whatever impurities comes in has no chance of getting out then.
Yeah.
If it's open, every time it rains, yes, it will fill up, but it will wash impurities out.
And then it can just naturally ventilate
Yeah,
itself
exactly.
and evaporate out of
Yep.
there, as opposed to if there's caulking in there,
Yeah.
it's stuck in there. You get salt crystals and
Yes.
is that the? And so what do Staylock recommend themselves?
They say just like this.
So Staylock say not to use caulking.
Yes.
So
You don't.
that-
They
isn't
say
that-
actually they say you don't need to use it. I think is the official word. You don't need to use it.
Reacting with
I've
the stain.
never seen one ever go bad without caulking. Ever. I've seen it go bad with caulking, but it's been the wrong caulking. I'm sure there's going to be a massive discussion, and it's a good one to have, right? But this is my way.
Good enough for me.
That's
All
tight,
right,
right?
Staylock, by the way, has nothing to do with. It's their own company. Selden has. We don't have stock in Staylock.
Alrighty. How much? You tell me when.
Stop.
Right there.
So we're gonna do this as tight as we possibly can.
Yes.
Hope it's not me that has to undo it.
I would say that's good. That's about lifting Colin right there.
So that's done.
Yeah, that's your first one, and now we can just attack it.
Got her. She's on.
So now it's pretty crucial that we don't let the cable spin.
Yeah. So when you do this, you absolutely want to make sure that the mast is as straight as possible. As you can see, it's well propped up, it's well supported, and it is straight, and we have not taken up any load on just one stay, because that will make the mast bend, and then we're off on the other side. You guys have some fun with it with the other three, and I will go and supervise.
Yep. Okay.
Look at that! Isn't
So
it
now-
sexy?
It's good. You're ready.
Okay, so we need about 3 mil.
Woo! Holy shit! Caught me.
Oh, that looks good, Jamie.
It looks perfect.
It looks so pretty.
Looks better than Selden.
Oh, yes, baby.
I hope you found this episode enjoyable, guys, and that you learned something along with the rest of us. Join us next week as Jonas shares some more tricks of the trade.
For every 1 millimeter, this 2 meter measuring tape moves up, is 5% of the breaking strength of the wire.
Then we finally get the mast stepped and do some sea trials where Jonas tunes the rig for us to prepare for our 3,000-mile journey across the Pacific to French Polynesia.
We get a lot of action on the rig right now, and it looks absolutely beautiful. That's what I have with the dirty bottom. With the dirty bottom.